hit on me by telling me he used to like pleasure himself to my Instagram photos, and my Instagram photos are scary. What are you even looking at?
I'm so nice, but I'm like, do me wrong and yeah, I'll chomp you up, and I'll make an ASMR video doing it.
Yeah. To me, beauty is hard work. Like, I think
maybe for you.
Well, I literally feel like no. I mean,
how do you even act straight at this point? Like Tasmanian deviling around the room. Like, I don't understand what we as like humans, we deserve to live. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying like go to jail, but I'm just saying
you're gonna hear this and you're gonna be like, but I actually might have biological kids out there. I was hired to be a sperm donor. There's this guy and he finds models in Los Angeles, and a model friend of mine, she had donated her eggs through this guy, right? She sent him my photos and he called me. He was like, oh my God, like they'll love you. They'll literally love your genes. Hell
because
yeah.
There's some weird eugenics people.
But no, it was a weird eugenics situation. Went in and did the donation at a fertility clinic, and I ended up getting a call and they were like, hey, like, it wasn't viable. Like, can you come in again? I did all that and then I never heard anything. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm hanging out with my mom and I get an email and the fertility clinic is like, hey, you owe us $900. We've been storing your sperm. So they had my sperm this whole time and I wasn't infertile, and I hadn't known. I tried to contact the sperm donor guy a bunch of times. He ghosted me every single time.
They stole your
They literally stole my genetic material, and then when I tried to get them to destroy it, it technically was not under my name anymore, so I didn't have ownership over it. And
it wasn't under your name?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy?
You can own someone else's ejaculation?
Yes, someone else owns my genetic material, and it was like...
Is this legal?
No, probably not. My ass is gonna have to like file some reporting thing, but it's crazy because like...
I'm shook.
Yeah.
I have never heard of anything this crazy.
I know.
Girl, this world,
but
I'm trying.
The end of the story was that I technically do not own my genetic material anymore. So because of that, they can do whatever they want with it, which is pretty crazy.
They're going to make you into a superhuman
I'm like,
it's
listen,
giving Mewtwo.
What if I'm ever abroad in the country that these clients were from, and I see like 40 years from now, 20 years from now, I see a man that looks like me, I'm gonna be like, or like a very tall girl, I'm gonna be like,
hey there, I'm Gracie Jane, and I am so excited to have you here. If you're new, welcome to my little corner of the internet where things get fun, personal, and maybe even a little outside the box. I'm all about creating a safe, judgment-free space on the internet where we can joke around, have some real conversations, and just enjoy each other's company. I love connecting with people who share my vibe. Whether you're here to chat, share your wildest dreams, or just see where things go, you're in the right place. That's why I'm thrilled to introduce you to something special, Eva. Eva is your safe space to explore without judgment. Whether you're curious, looking for connection, or just need a laugh, Eva is here to help eliminate loneliness, boredom, and build deeper connections with people like me and so many others. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes with the internet, it can get boring. Here's what makes Eva so amazing. Exclusive content that you've never seen before. 24/7 chatting plus access to custom photos and videos from your favorite creators. Yep, that means me. And with a subscription, you'll unlock full access to the fun all the time. What I think is so cool is I got to make myself a fantasy character, which I chose a fallen angel because, well, you guys know I'm sent from heaven, but then I got kicked out. 86. That's why I'm on Eva. If you're ready to take things to the next level, come join me. Let's explore, connect, and make this space Eva uniquely ours. I can't wait to see you there. Make sure you click the link in my description box and go follow Eva AI and talk to little Gracie Jane number 2. It's me, Gracie Jane, and I'm back with the finale of your favorite new podcast, The Gracie Jane Show. Give it up. Worth your applause. Come on. It has been such an amazing season.
I hope that you guys have fallen in love with all the guests that I've brought on as much as I'm in love with them. Support them the same way that I ask for your support. It means the world to me. Like our community, we uplift each other. Make sure you guys stream The Gracie Jane Show, not only here on YouTube or podcasts, but also on Spotify, Apple Music, all streaming services. I appreciate all the love and support so much, for real. It takes a lot to put myself out there, and honestly, even if you hate it, I'm just grateful for the attention, because you know I love attention. Also, just a quick reminder, if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and click subscribe, and also don't forget about my Patreon, because over at Patreon we have lots of goodies for you. Super soft, amazing oversized t-shirts with my beautiful picture on them here in the dungeon, as well as The Gracie Jane Show on the back. Please support the doll. They come in 3 oversized sizes, so you can wear them as a dress, you can wear them to bed. I was trying to think of my audience when I was making the merch, so I'm an oversized t-shirt girly when it comes to merch, so that's just what I would expect of baddies like you. Also, I have stickers. Stickers, the Gracie Jane Show stickers, as well as little Gracie Jane stickers. You can put them on your phone, you can put them on your laptop. 2 different prints, incredible photos. I hope you guys love them as much as I do. These are some of my best shots, and I'm going to be signing them and handwriting a little message for you and all your support. So thank you guys, Patreon members. Literally, I can't thank you enough for your support on this journey. It's been really, really exciting and fun, and I have not felt this much passion in a while. So, I'm just emotional. And now I want you guys to give a warm welcome to my final guest, Ashur Gharavi. Come on over, baby. Come have a seat. Woo-hoo! Hi. So we are in business. I hope you like my Gracie Jane Show.
I love it.
Nice.
Oh my God.
I'm so
Everything's
official.
put together so cute. I was like,
Aww.
oh my God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, why did you expect something less?
Well, I've been excited to make my podcast debut for a while. And so I'm very excited to be on this one. It's almost happened a few times. And I'm like, this is exactly the right vibe, I feel like, for a first podcast.
You're literally like the 4th person on the show that's never given like a real podcast interview.
Really?
And they're all like, it's Chase, it's Luna Love Bad, like people who are like, they're stars.
Chase has never given a podcast interview. That's
Never
crazy.
given a real interview.
Oh my God.
I know, we got the first exclusive interview right here.
All right.
I know, and now with you too. I'm so happy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's good. The whole point of the show for me was like, I want to showcase the people in our community that I think are really doing dope stuff that, like, you know, this is not shade, obviously, because underground is always cooler than mainstream anyway. But like the underground world of us, the queer people, like it's so close to like bursting its head in the mainstream. And if there's anything I can do to like put my people on, people who I really do believe like have good heads on their shoulders, make good art, make good content, and care about the like community, I just love to uplift you, and so I'm so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Love your necklace, by the way.
Oh my God, thank you. It's from Etsy. So I know.
Oh no, mine. I got the one. This one is brand new.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my
Cool?
gosh.
And it matches the tattoo.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh my God.
And you have to tell me if I have a slip today, because this dress is a little.
Oh my God, I'll keep my eye out. I'll do my best.
Yes, I told him to.
Okay.
I'm like, everybody
We'll both be on slip duty.
Yeah, literally. Everybody just stare at my and we'll be fine. Okay, so Ashur, I introduced you, but I would love to hear you introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
So I am a horror YouTuber primarily, but I am biggest known on TikTok, unfortunately. I was one of those people who blew up during the pandemic, and I make horror content, and I'm kind of known as, like, when I go to creator events, people are like, oh my God, the weird core guy is here. And I'm known for doing the little masks. I do like a lot of masks and a lot of little short horror stories and a lot of little photo shoots too. So I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I can tell. I look at your work, and like I discovered you through Noah Way, who obviously love Noah so much.
Oh my God, Noah is my best friend, my day oneer. Well, I mean, it's like me and Noah met at a club. Like, it was the third third day I moved here, we like met at a club, and then we hung out later that week, and we've hung out like pretty much almost every other day since. Like I literally, I'm like, I'll probably hit him up to hang out today even. Like, and,
hang out with me. Let's hang out.
No, literally.
Yeah.
We go out on the town.
Y'all
tear
come
it
through.
up,
Come through. I love Noah so much. You know, Noah is like someone from my industry, and he is a FTM trans man who is like blowing, I mean, this industry out of the water. It's crazy. I've never seen anyone with as much hype as him in the world of like gay stuff, and especially as a trans man, like he is killing it. He just celebrated 1 million followers on Twitter.
It was so huge.
X, like 1 million.
He's been waiting. We talk about when I first moved to LA, I went to this influencer party where you had to prove that you had 1 million followers to get in the door. Like, which insane, by the way. And the party was not that fun. I'll just put it out there. But ever since then, Noah was like, as soon as I hit 1 million, you need to find another one so we can go to it and just be like, yeah,
just to say you did.
Just to say we did go to the 1 million plus party.
Oh my God. I feel like I would hate that party, but I would also.
It was not fun.
I would need. Oh, so you did end up going.
I went, yeah. I had gone, and I got one of my friends in by saying that she ran Pop Crave, which was not true.
That's
at
hysterical.
All.
One time we had this. I know this girl who got into Lollapalooza pretending to be Amber Rose.
Oh my gosh.
It
and
worked.
she looked like her?
Yeah.
Okay, well, good for her. I
know.
mean, honestly.
It was iconic. I was like, the world is ours, honey.
No, literally.
No, Noah is the best, and I feel like shout out to Noah. We love Noah. We love all the trans men in our community. You said you have a ton of trans
Oh
male
my God.
fans.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's
So the
funny.
boys are watching.
The boys are watching.
Hi,
literally.
boys.
Like, hi.
Hi, boys.
It's so funny. There are 3 trans men that are named Ashur after me that have posted about it on Tumblr. Isn't that crazy? Spelled the way I'm spelled. My name is spelled, which it's spelled with a U, like Middle Eastern spelling. My dad is from Iran. And I'm like, that's crazy. There's 3 probably not Middle Eastern like trans men out there who like, I love it. I'm like, that's like the most flattering thing in the world. And I have so much fan art of me, even before I moved to LA and like befriended a lot of trans men. I had a ton of fan art of me with top surgery scars. And I was like, that's crazy. Like my audience is like headcanoning me.
They're like,
as a trans man.
They're like, give it up, honey.
Like,
We know what you are.
Literally, I was like, hey, I'll take it. I love it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel like Noah is such a he is breaking boundaries in the world. I cannot, and he's so young. Like I went to his 22nd birthday.
Oh, it was his 23rd birthday. Yeah.
Girl, like he has such a huge career ahead of him.
I know, popping off.
I love it. I can't wait to have him on the show sometime.
I know he'll have to make an appearance.
Oh, he will. Every season I want it to get like a little crazier.
Okay. We're starting pretty like baseline, and then it's gonna go
off the rails.
Going off.
It's Jane. Hello.
Hell yeah.
That's me. So, yes, we met through Noah. Awesome person. I feel like it must be kind of interesting having a connection to so many people in our industry. Like, what's that been like for you? Because you're young. You're 24.
I am 24. Yes.
So, what's it like? When I was 24, it was new in the world of like my industry, but not film yet. I was working in them streets, and I just can't imagine what's it like for you as a gay in LA. You know, you could be hanging out with anyone. You're hanging out with people in the industry. Like, has it been fun? I bet it's been pretty fun.
I mean, I think it's been pretty. I think you'd be surprised at how, especially a lot of like when me and Noah party with like the gay boys in the industry, how not crazy it seems to be. Like a lot of them seem to like, we were going to this party in downtown, and this really famous like gay guy in the industry was supposed to come with us, and he wouldn't because he was too scared of being in downtown. Like he was like, I can't be in downtown, it's too scary for me. And we were like, well, what are those muscles for if not to fight off like
we know what those muscles
attackers
are for.
But I literally, that's my thing, is I'm always like, I feel like a lot of them are a lot cleaner than you think and a lot more like that's like genuinely that's how I felt. Like okay, listen, we got a real one right here. But like a lot of especially the gay ones, I'm always like, oh wow, this is like it really feels like just a job to a lot of people. Like
it is.
Yeah.
I think that surprises more people than you think.
Yeah. I also feel like it's interesting because I feel like a lot of the times when I accompany Noah to those events, I am not in the industry and I don't really have plans to be. And I always get like so many producers coming up to me and giving me offers and everything. Well, my thing is just like every time I'm always like, oh my God, no.
They want money and they want know money. You sell.
And I'm also always like, oh, and my friend's right here. He wants to do more studio work. Like,
everybody is.
I'm like,
this is how those people think. They already put prices on your head, right? So the more heads, the better. I mean,
absolutely,
takes all kinds.
But I mean, overall, it's interesting. We mentioned this. We talked a little about this. Yeah. We talked about this a little bit earlier on the phone, but I feel like I recently posted, we're filming this in October, and I recently posted a photo shoot with Noah, and it was the first time we had ever like posted anything together online. And a lot of people
loved it, by the way.
Loved it. Yeah. We did a little Morticia and Gomez cosplay.
It was so cute.
And people had asked me and been like, oh, I didn't expect you to be such close friends with, someone in the industry. And I was like, you would be surprised at how closely connected art and that kind of work has been over the history of the world. The reason I feel like a huge part of the reason why me and Noah became friends is because he does do a lot of art, and a lot of the people in the industry that I know that I'm friends with are huge artist people. My two closest friends, my other closest friend besides Noah, Sabrina Nicole, she's a huge she does so much incredible cosplay. She can sew, and I feel like because it's I know a lot of people who are in the industry so they can have enough time to be able to do their artistic and creative projects. Yeah. Literally, like you too. And so I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Historically, I mean, I was thinking I watched a little video essay about I think it was the Degas ballerina paintings, and about how ballerinas historically were in work. And it's because it's been always historically tied
dancers
together.
In general.
Literally. Yeah. And so because of that, I feel like I have a lot of friends in the industry, and the ones I don't have who are in the industry are everyone's an artist is kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it takes a lot to perform, and even just off camera, it takes artistry. You got to learn how to put yourself together and sell yourself. And I talk about this on the show a lot because it's kind of for me, the crux of what I'm doing. It's I just think that our community, sometimes we look the other way to the industry people, and we think oh, maybe they don't belong in the mainstream as much as, and it's prejudice. It's all because there's these preconceived notions that it's low brow, or that people are doing this because they've given up on their other dreams. And I'm no. It's a job. People are doing this for survival, and it's survival of the fittest. And honestly, I think it takes a really intelligent person to say, okay, I'm going to really lock down my survival so that I can be free to do my thing. And that's totally something that it makes my art better, because I don't have to, when I make art, I don't think about how anyone feels about it. This is my art. I'm expressing myself.
I often feel I do the best work when my videos are doing really good and I'm getting more money and I don't have to stress about money. That's when I do the best work, because I'm oh my God, now I have the chance to sit back. I especially think about that recently. I've been having a little bit more trouble making money. It's crazy. Usually Halloween's always, I know Halloween's always my good month, because literally, and Halloween's always my good month because I do horror stuff, and this month was a little bit harder, and I just had to sit back and be hey, you can't let the money stress affect your art, because then it's gonna come out. And I feel I've been having a lot of fun getting to experiment with a lot of different things. I think that was kind of, Halloween month was a good time for me to try out a lot of different stuff. But I feel like now I'm like, all right, I gotta like go in and do a little bit more fan service, get some other stuff out there.
Hey, I get it. Fan service.
Reach and see what the
pays
fans
bills.
want. So yeah, which I mean, I love literally. I feel like I love like everything I do. Like I don't think it's been a really long time since I've put out a video or done something that I haven't had some amount of fun doing. So I mean, that's a win in general.
If you're not having fun doing it, I mean, what's the point?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I try to live by that as well, personally, because, you know, you get one life and money is not everything. I actually recently had a very enlightening experience, and I don't want to get dark on the podcast because I am an intense person and very passionate, but I just had a really crazy experience where I was brought to an event by some DJ. It was an insomniac event, so there's the people who throw EDC. They're like the EDC people. And so I've been a raver for like, I'm 30. I've been a raver since I was a teenager. And the raves like I was growing up in, it was a very like family community environment. And like, girl, I got asked to perform for free at this rave. I did it because I'm thinking like big crowd. I'm an artist. Like I don't do it for money. That's the whole point. Like I do it because I love it. And this event, and I mean no disrespect to people who enjoy EDC and Insomniac, like maybe it's me being trans or what, maybe it's just the people I was with that day or what, or the way the event is run. I'm leaning towards that. But it was such a crazy, unsafe experience. I couldn't even believe that I was there.
Oh my God.
I literally would never ask a fan of mine to come to that. I was shook to my core. And I realized, I'm like, wow. So we have people out here doing art who really, really have sold out. And like, I get it, dude. Like, money is tough. But if you're an artist and you can't like stick to what you believe in your thesis, like your art sucks. I'm sorry. Like, it's time. I mean, it's entertaining maybe, but like a real, in my opinion, my stupid, uneducated opinion, a real artist stays true to exactly what they're trying to do with their art. And for me, I'm like, ew. I don't want to be at this like gross EDC rave where I'm like literally watching like hot young girls like get harassed by men. Like that is not a vibe, and I don't want any of my concerts to look like that. Like
that's like honestly, that's a huge part of like a lot of the parties I go to. I feel like the vibe is so important and the culture of the party. I think that's why I'm always at Heaven every single time it happens. Shout out to Lulo. I love your party.
I know, I love Lulo.
I always go.
I wanted her on season 1.
Yeah?
Yeah, but she went through some personal family issues.
She's been going through it, but
yeah,
lots
season
of love
2.
to you, Lulo.
Come on, Lulo, come on back. We love you.
But I really love that. That's always been a party where I love the vibes, and it's such a like, I would say it's like, it's crazy because it's literally like 80% women. Like it's such a huge female, like it feels like a very nice feminine presence in Los Angeles. And it feels like, I hate when I go to a club, especially like whenever I go to a straight club, and sometimes you can always feel like there's like sharks in the water with like guys. It feels like they're kind of like,
you don't say.
And it's literally like, I like do not like that vibe. Like I was like, if my little sister visits, and also Heaven is 18 and up, which is really nice. I was like, if my little sister ever visits, that's the club I'd take her to, because I would not want to put my
she's not
my
gonna
baby
get
sister
roofied.
in like
Yeah.
literally in a dangerous experience. Like, and there's so many places that are so unsafe that it's like,
dude, you're literally speaking to my soul right now, because I just like created this whole concept I'm about to do. I'm really excited. I'm actually throwing an all-girl rave.
I saw. Oh my God, that's so exciting.
It's called No Boys Allowed, and it's gonna start small and gradually grow, and like listen to what it's about to be giving. Oh, by this time, one has already happened, so I'm sure y'all know about it. But what it's giving, like, I want everyone, there's like an email list, and the hosts are in charge of making sure every girl who comes gets home safely, and they have to check in. Like, every single girl, I want like a check-in. Like, I got home safely. Like, I want it to be an environment of like party people who care about each other. Like, I don't like the culture of LA, how everything's a scene. I'm like, no. If we ever expect to like treat each other like community, we have to be one. So it's like, I want to build something small, like 30, 40 people, and slowly, gradually build it. And yeah, it is exclusive, because guess what? It's unsafe. we can't risk our safety. Like, some of these girls need this. Like, the girl I'm throwing it with is a young mom. She's in the industry. She's tired. She's sick of the getting touched at the club. Like, she works in clubs. Girl, no. We need a place to like really dance and have fun. So no boys allowed. You guys go join the email list. I made an email, noboysallowdrave at gmail.com.
I'll be excited to see the photos.
Oh my God, yes.
After the event.
One day I'll start inviting like a few boys. I'm gonna start a list called One of the Girls.
Okay.
But you have to be like so special. And
right,
you are.
Right. Oh, thank you.
You really are one of the girls.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I literally, we were talking about this a little bit before, but you were like, oh, we need to like bridge the gap between the dolls and the gays. And I was like, I feel like I'm not a good person to do that because all of my friends are the dolls or, the G.I. Joes. Like there's not a lot of, I'm not friends with, I think I have 2 cisgender friends, like period. And so it's kind of like, no, literally, I'm always like, oh, like tonight, I'm like, I might try to go to like a gay club tonight because I'm like, I literally need to like meet more cisgender gay guys. I like don't know any.
Good luck
crazy.
With that.
Like,
have fun.
We'll see. I'm like, we'll see what ends up happening. To the cisgender gay guys that I'm like, pretty decent friends with. Hi. I love the ones of you that I like talk to and see at the club, but I feel like a lot of my inner circle is very trans, so it's really cool.
Well, you should have super high standards. I mean, you are like popping. You got your life together. Like I don't know. You seem to be like your head is screwed on tight. In my opinion.
Thank you.
Your characters that you create. So you create these like out of your brain, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I feel like I've always been a pretty creative individual. I had gone to basically when I was homeschooled for a period of time and I had skipped a grade. And so I graduated from high school and went to acting conservatory when I was 17. And to pay for like my books for acting conservatory, I had written scripts that won money. And that's how I paid for. So it's been kind of like I've always been a bit of a creative mind and I've always been quite a bit of a performer. And so I feel like it takes a lot of brainstorming a lot of the time. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes things just come to me. But there's been so many times where I've been like, oh my gosh, I think I've lost it. And then I always find it again. So it's always okay. But
being an artist, that's being an artist.
No, literally.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool. I've never really seen, like I've seen a lot of stuff on social media, but I like the way you bring your artistic stuff to the medium of Instagram. And I personally like, this is no shade at all to what you do because I love what you do. You should definitely like continue pursuing like more artistic endeavors that involve those skills because you really have something there. And
thank you.
Yeah, I really think it's like really unique and I don't see a lot. For those of y'all who don't know, he makes these like characters out of his brain, these like spooky, what do you call them? Is there a name for them?
I think it kind of depends on I take a lot of influence from a lot of like analog horror series and a lot of like internet horror in general. I was a huge like creepypasta kid. If you read creepypasta back in the day, I see you grimacing.
I'm old. I don't know. I'm like creepypasta. Is that a dish?
So creepypasta was like a site that had like a bunch of little like fan fiction horror stories, like Jeff the Killer.
Wait, is this the one with the girl who murdered someone? This?
Perhaps, maybe. There's definitely stories about girls that murder people on it.
There was a true crime about a girl who literally I know about this. There was a creepypasta and she literally got so like she was having problems and she was like so convinced of like the creepypasta she ended up like one of her classmates. Oh my god, that was so dark. Sorry.
Wow. Okay.
But it's really crazy.
Heard of that,
have you heard? You have?
I have not heard of that. That's crazy.
It's a really wild case.
One, but
it was the Slender Man.
Oh, that's over Slender Man. Oh.
Is he like why?
No judgment. Okay.
Why? What's like tea on Slender Man?
Well, there's no like tea on Slender Man. I just feel like if I was gonna be like I think my thing with creepypasta is it's so fun, but I think as an adult you look back and you're like, they're cute stories. They're cute little stories. They've got some plot holes, but they're cute little
Slender
stories.
Man?
So I mean,
is this direct? Yeah. I mean, just direct shade.
I think I did hear about this though. I'm not trying to slay. Listen. No offense to the Slender Man fandom, to the Slender Man community. I just feel like I just was surprised. I guess I'm just surprised that that's what motivated her to do that. That's horrible.
You're like, girl, have some
yeah.
taste. If you're gonna kill someone over a creepypasta, at
so
least make it
sad,
actually
though.
a
That's
scary
so sad.
one. No, I know.
But
I'm just joking.
yeah, no, literally. But no, so I was really big into internet horror, and you know, I had a bit of an interesting upbringing. My dad is a former goth, so I grew up listening to goth music, and Halloween was always a big holiday around my house. Ooh. And so basically, when the pandemic hit, right before the pandemic hit, I was like, I'm gonna start posting on TikTok. Before then, I had been a professional traveling actor. I had pretty much been bouncing around doing different stage shows, doing musicals professionally, and that was my full-time job, getting paid to go up there and park and bark. And I had been living
that's
with
how you
my
get
grandpa.
good.
I mean, yeah, it definitely.
What were some shows you did?
I mean, I think a big one is the last musical I did before I moved was The Fantastics. I did Romeo and Juliet a bunch of times. Like I did a lot of
what was your
like
favorite
little fun
to do?
things. I really did like doing The Fantastics. I think I was classically trained. I took opera for 4 years.
My mother would love you.
Yeah, I'm not.
I've seen a lot of operas.
I feel like, oh really?
Something about me.
Mm-hmm.
My mother worked in opera my whole entire childhood. And I grew up going, I kind of hate them because I've been to so many.
Really?
I've been to, look, imagine you're like 5 years old and you're just like, I was like, the costumes are cool. Mm-hmm. They were like, you know how long they are. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Operas, I go to the opera because it's really beautiful, but 3 hours, sometimes
Pagliacci
more.
is my favorite.
Which one?
Pagliacci is my favorite.
Mine is Turandot.
Uh-huh.
Or Turandot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so long, always in another language, very hard. Opera is a very specific thing. You have to be really into it to love it.
Yeah, and that was ended up being my problem is I had started a little late, and so I was kind of like I was technically applying these like opera singing skills in a kind of musical theater way. I didn't really have a typical like operatic sound. I sounded pretty like it's like when Josh Groban sings and he's like singing classical music, but there's a little bit of a contemporary edge. But I got to flex some of those like classical music skills in that musical, which was really fun. And I'd really wanted to do it for a while. But basically, I was at my grandpa's house. I was auditioning for some more musicals. And I also was doing a lot of modeling gigs in LA. I think I was waiting to hear back about LA Fashion Week the week the pandemic hit. And I had been doing that, and at the same time I had been kind of doing little things on TikTok. This was like back when TikTok was like the Wild West. There was no text, there was no editing, like it was real stripped back. And pretty much the pandemic hit, and I started doing these videos that were called like POVs, where you'd be talking to the camera and you'd be telling a little story, and it'd be like, POV, you have a string attached around your finger and it leads you to your soulmate.
Oh, I've done some.
Yeah.
Wait.
You have? Oh my
I have
gosh.
to show you mine. My POV is, it's actually on my YouTube channel, so watch it. It's POV TS Gracie Jane bullies you into quitting vaping.
All right. Okay. I love it.
And I'm like sexy, like sitting, like literally like dominatrix bullying the camera, like you look so stupid with that plastic pacifier.
And you're
in your
helping
mouth.
them out by getting them to quit vaping. Look at that, you know, curing lung cancer.
I'm trying to help y'all. I want to do one. I want to do my next POV. Here, I'll do a little sneak peek for you guys. My next POV I want to do is like falling in love with the camera at first time.
Yeah.
Like, me. Hey, what's up? Are you looking at me? You're so cute. I don't know. I'm sorry. Is that weird to say? Like, let me stop. Do you have a girlfriend? Because I want to do this. I want to do it for like an hour.
The grabbing onto the headphone and the little
right. Like,
it's so Wattpad of
like,
you. You know, you're really YN. You know,
I want to keep it going and go all the way to like insane, like confessing my love like way inappropriately, like you don't even know me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love for all the people who love a yandere.
Me. So they love me.
Yeah, no, for real.
I'm a real life yandere. I'm a man eater.
Oh, really?
No, because I actually am I'm so nice, but I'm like, do me wrong and y'all.
I was
chomp you up.
I like
and I'll make an ASMR video doing it.
Yeah, I've been like pretty boy crazy over the course of my life, but I also feel like sometimes I feel like I've been pretty boy crazy, and now I feel like I'm pretty boy crazy, but I'm also very picky. So I'm always like
picky is
like
good.
looking around, like, because I think it's definitely like, it's not even like obviously I like a guy that's a cutie pie, but I want a very specific vibe is the thing. And I feel like a lot of the times I like, if I'm talking to a guy and right off the bat, like I can tell that this certain vibe is not going to be there. I'm like, all right, this is not going to work.
Of course not. In my line of work, I have really learned, like, I've been with all types of beautiful people, men, women, everything in between. And I have to tell you, at this point, I don't care if you look like Angelina Jolie. Like, I have to really, like, want to spend time with you, you know? Like, unless it's giving, like, dark room, which for me, rarely these days it is. I mean, not, you know, never say never. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm with you. It's like, you got to have a good vibe. You got to be able to like hang. Like I could never, that's why I'm like, I love dating girls, because it's like, okay, we can actually talk about stuff I care about.
Yeah.
Like I can't talk about Wicked with my boyfriend, you know?
Oh my God, why not?
Well, because usually the guys who date trans women are like, I mean, not me.
Yeah.
I think I've never in my post-transition ever dated a cis man ever.
Really?
Not
Yeah.
seriously. Only like for fun.
I feel like I have made a lot of encounters over the course of being friends with a lot of transgender people, with a lot of chasers who've like, it's always literally one of the craziest stories, like one of the most interesting, I don't know how I describe it, but there's this like one chaser boy in LA who, by the way, will deny up and down that he's a chaser, who me and Noah had run into at a party, which I'm like, I don't know if I should even be talking about this, but this
dude's a loser. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, well, this guy had gone. Oh my God, yeah, but you're gonna have to bleep that out. Please bleep that out.
I will.
He's
not worth our clout. He's literally not worth our. He wants that. He wants that moment too bad.
I have no shade to him. Honestly, sometimes when he shows up, I find him pretty entertaining. But he had told Noah, he was like, yeah, I wish every guy had a. And then he turned around and was like,
Ew.
Asher, like, have you ever thought about taking estrogen? I feel like you'd really like it. And my thing is just
Sir?
like, I was like, all right, I respect, you know, the hustle, but I'm also like, you know, he's like, yeah, he's terrorized so many transgender people. He needs to create more to terrorize.
Honestly, that's
Like,
gonna work against him in the end, girl, because we end up ganging up in the end sometimes, usually.
But yeah, but that's always, I feel like that's often.
He's been around me before. He always gives me, he kind of gave me, and I mean this with all love to everyone, you know, whatever. But like, he's kind of a bumblebee, like trying to be around like people doing stuff. You know, in LA, there's like this, and I mean this like, I know that like life is hard and confusing. And when I was young, I wanted things I didn't know I wanted, and I didn't want, like, you know, I was stupid and young. But I think a lot of people come to LA and they think like, oh, you know, I'm queer. I can be in proximity to a bunch of queer people who are doing pop and stuff. But what they don't realize is like the people who stay and like work and make money here, like we're all actively working a lot. Like we're really busy. And I think some people want to just like party with people like you and I and think that that will like somehow culminate in like some type of name for themselves or career. And of course they're up to like no good. They're always like the pervy ones because they're not really like busy enough to think about anything else, you know?
No, I feel like, and I also just feel like oftentimes, sometimes I'm like, it's really not that serious. We can just have fun is like always my vibe is I'm like, and I'm not saying like have fun like that. I'm saying like we can just be at the club and talk to each other and have it be like a low key time. And it doesn't have to be like, I mean, especially because I don't know if I like, this is so weird. Maybe this is, I was going to start, but I like will not be intimate or go on a date with or anything with any guy I think is like even a little bit mean. Like I feel like that's like, and so like if
they're gonna be mean to you one day.
Yeah, and it's another thing when, especially like for me, I'm like around a lot of influencer boys, and I feel like a lot of them felt like they have to like act a certain way to feel better about themselves. They have to compare themselves to other people and kind of like, And I especially see if I see someone who's like talking like down to people or like interacting with people who like, and there's no, this is just a general like feeling, like there's no one in particular I'm even thinking about. It's just like it really bothers me. You're thinking about some specific,
the girls are, you know,
boys. The girls talk.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm literally. It's just been. I've been. You know, I've been lived as a gay man before, and I had gay friends when I was a gay man, and I remember all this. And it's like, you know, men are just so competitive, and I think sometimes gays, we get so beaten down when we're young. It's like we just don't know how to be nice by the time that we're like need to be nice in life.
Yeah.
And it's like sad, but it's also like, honey, my mom used to tell me
it's not cute to be mean.
You catch more flies with honey than vinegar.
It's not cute to be mean, and I literally hate the amount of times I've had to like, oh my god, like the amount of times like someone I know, like not like a close friend or anything, like I literally had to tell a friend of mine one time, I was like, hey, you're being like really mean to this guy. You need to like go easier on him. Like he's just like a poor guy that's just like, you know, like it's not cute to be mean. And I think like, you know, honestly, it's like, yeah, you catch more flies with honey, but also just like if you're a really nice person, it will literally set you apart in like whatever you do, because so many people, especially nowadays online, just in general, are so awful. And just, I think that's one of those things where I really don't understand it, because I mean, honestly, I feel like there's so many like wonderful things out there. There's so much cool stuff out there. And I feel like if you just go in and look at everything with a little bit of a sense of wonder and like, it just makes everything better.
Yeah, so. I agree. I mean, it's a choice and it's tough. And
yeah.
I think that like, I really hope to see more shift, especially like I keep on hearing about like, I don't know if you heard about the like, what's it called? No chill party. There was like some gay party in New York and everyone was saying it was like miserable. And I'm like, I think that there's like a big like unhappiness problem in the queer man world because of the state of things for women and like the way so many queer men like turn a blind eye to the trans and just straight up cis, I'd say mostly cis female experience. And I'm like, yeah, of course you guys aren't having fun because you all have moms too, and you have guilty consciences right now because you know what's going on in the world. Yeah. Y'all are not that dumb. Like, come on. And I just think that like for us as a community to grow, we have to start like, it's always been so segregated in our community. Yeah. It's just so stupid. I love people like you who like who know better than to do that. Like, yeah, and then also good on you for being a good example to that dude, because when I was at that like EDC event, I saw some dude do something bad, and literally when I was like, yo, what'd you just do? The dude next to him was like, it wasn't me. And I'm like, ew. Like, that's such an immature mentality. Something like someone like you who would say, don't do that. That's nasty. To the dude, like, don't, confront. I think the boys club mentality is so toxic, and it is in the gay community too. And the more people like you who just like keep waking it up, even when it's awkward, it's like, yeah, well, it's awkward for you, but how do you think it feels when it's coming down on someone else?
No, it's actually crazy how much drama boys are in general. And this is something, before I moved to LA, I had a lot of friends who were straight men, and I don't know how it is that like women got the like reputation for being the dramatic ones. Straight men love drama. Straight men love drama. The bisexual men, oh my God, the drama they love to start, like they love it. And so it's always crazy. I'm like, it's crazy how chill it is when you just party with your girlfriends. Like, it's just so much more low-key.
Hey hotties, it's me, Gracie Jane. As you guys know, my full-time career is on social media. With so many platforms to keep up with and all the time and energy I put towards creating my content, I need a team that can help me organize and, of course, most importantly, monetize. I truly believe a good business is built by working well with other intelligent and driven people. I think that's something that can be really hard and intimidating for trans people. I know I certainly struggle with trusting people to have my business's best interest in mind. So my sponsor today is my subscription sites manager, and I have been working with different teams year after year, and I'm really thrilled to have him as a sponsor of the show. Chuck G is an expert in the content and consulting space. Chuck works with some of the top trans creators in the world. His team saves me so much
time and makes me really feel like my content is being managed properly. If you're looking for management or you just want to see tips and tricks and get valuable information on how to improve your personal brand, go check out I'm Chuck G on Instagram. That's at IMCHUCKG. I'm Chuck G on Instagram. That's where I found him. I started watching his stories and I was so motivated by all of the valuable information he has about business. You know, it can be really hard to navigate, and I highly recommend inquiring about his services. Hit him up on Instagram. Tell him Gracie Jane sent you. I wish all you hustlers and entrepreneurs out there a blessed future with lots of success. Hard work should definitely pay off. Thanks for listening. Now let's get back to the show.
I had a friend, well, not a close friend of mine, but she's out there. She's killing it. So good for her.
Should we drop her name?
I'm like, Capri. I went to acting conservatory with her
Capri.
there. She's really cool. But she had a podcast episode recently that I felt a little mixed about, where the guest on the podcast, they were talking about how they were like, oh, if you want to date a man written by a woman, you should date a trans man. And I was like, this is crazy just because.
That was transphobic.
Well, also just like in my experience, I was like, that's not what trans men are giving at all. Trans men are, so many of them are boys. It's crazy. Like literally like the way and the things like, oh my God, I had a trans guy who was trying to convince me to get into sports betting. It was wild. Like I was literally like trying to convince me to get into sports betting, and then hit on me by telling me he used to like pleasure himself to my Instagram photos, and my Instagram photos are scary. Like what are you even looking at?
Well, I mean, I can understand
like,
that as someone who's got weird interests.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally kidding.
No, well, literally, I just am like, it's stuff like that where I was like,
It's
I don't know.
because they're going through puberty.
Yeah.
These trans boys, like FTMs, y'all know I love you. I'm dating a trans guy. Like those are,
and we love Austin.
we love Austin. Shout out to Austin Spears. But yeah. These trans men, they go through puberty, and like I remember my male puberty, it was not pretty. Most men's puberties are not. Mm-hmm. Most of them.
Oh my God, I like have an androgen disorder, so I went through puberty when I was like 8. Like I literally had back hair at 10. It was horrible. Like it literally was like a huge thing. So I was homeschooled, and by the time I like was going to public school, which was my freshman year of high school, I did manage to like, I was already pretty much on it with like hair removal, hair stuff. Like I was kind of always on it. And then when I turned 18, I went and got laser, like so many different places. And I get laser now a lot too. But it was like, I feel like puberty was honestly like the most traumatic experience I went through. Like I look back,
I can
and
relate
like,
to that.
Yeah, no, well, for sure. Like it's just like
maybe that's why you relate to trans people so much.
That it might be. I feel like, and also I've had a very like
trauma
interesting. Bond. No, for sure. I've had a very interesting relationship with my like body and with gender overall. Just because when I was a little kid, I like really wanted to transition when I was a little kid. Like that was kind of my vibe, and my parents were obviously like, they weren't super down for it. Like I really felt very in touch with my feminine, I guess. And then because I went through puberty so early and so aggressively, and because my testosterone levels were so high, I feel like a huge part of my life was defined around masculinity and the appearance of being like a very masculine looking guy. And it's something that like, I cannot date a guy who is looking to have some sort of like mask, like is really into mask guys or has this straight thing, because then I feel weird dressing how I want to or acting how I want to, and I feel like it's been sort of a tough journey figuring out like how I want to present and how I want to look and everything. I mean, I feel pretty happy about everything now. But it's definitely been a bit of an interesting experience. And I think that it's definitely part of the reason why I have so many trans friends, is just because I feel like on top of that, like you are who you're meant to be. Like you've done, and seeing like, you know, trans people put a lot of work in. And that's something that I admire so much. I like
we make it look easy too.
No, literally, you make it look easy. But like the amount of work that these girls and some of the guys put in, literally, The way this one trans guy was telling me he just washes his face with bar soap. And I was trying to get him to start taking finasteride. And he was like, I can't do it. Like, I'm just going to go bald. And I was like, no, please take the pill. Like,
Proof that trans men are real men. Right?
No, literally.
Not that we need it on this podcast.
Literally. But I think that's one of my things is I'm always like, I really admire that a lot. And I feel like I'm someone who's like always kind of been very admiring and obsessed with beauty. And I feel like to me, beauty is hard work. Like I think I always really admire that with trans people. I mean, I literally feel like, no, I mean, that's my thing. It's just kind of like, I feel like I like putting a lot of effort in, and I feel like, but it's been interesting. I feel like I identified as non-binary for like years.
I'm sorry, actually. Have I been misgendering you?
No, literally. Okay, I'm kind of a person who does not care. I'm honestly like, I mean, by the time this episode comes out, I might be like an all pronouns kind of girl. Like I literally don't care.
It's giving she, her. At
like,
that point.
She, her, hey.
You just look like Amanda Lepore. Like,
oh my God, thank you. Amanda
Lepore,
estrogened up.
A little more than estrogen.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah.
A lot more.
But I think it's just like,
Queen.
I had identified as non-binary for like years, and I always was just kind of like whatever pronouns you want. But when I moved to LA, I kind of was like, I'm not sure. Like I just wasn't sure if it was right for me. And now I'm kind of like, maybe it is. Like I kind of just try not to think about, like I'm a person who like tries not to like think about gender too much. Like it's something that like, and I feel like it's interesting just because my life has been so defined by like people perceiving me as being hyper masculine or something. It's been crazy because it's crazy because like look at me and like look at how I'm talking, but I feel like it's constantly like a conversation I keep having to have. This guy came and visited me. We had been talking for a while, and he had been on my close friend's story for a long time. Like we had met at a party. Noah knew him. And he came and visited me, and he was like beyond shocked. He was like, yeah, like I was really into you because I thought you were like really masculine and straight passing.
Ew.
And I was like, listen, if you're into that, that's so cool. It's just, that's not me. And like,
okay, a controversial hot take here. I have a controversial hot take here. Girls, gays. I understand we all have preferences and we all like what we like. And I have my own weird things I like too. But I'll tell you right now, when it comes to straight DL men, these guys wreak havoc on our community. Stop worshiping straight people. Stop it. Love yourself. Literally, like when you hate on a gay person for being feminine or being gay, you're hating yourself, and it's obvious, and the whole world sees it, and it's sad. I truly believe when I liberated myself from like these ideas of like what a man should be, or like what I want in a man, like what really I want. And I realized the truth, my truth, and I think it's a journey for everyone. I was set free. And now it's like, dude, the less straight acting, the better. I'm like, how do you even act straight at this point? Like, start like Tasmanian deviling around the room. Like, I don't understand what we're like. I'm sorry, but I think people need to understand it's like, what you're worshiping literally wants to discard of you, and maybe that's why you're worshiping it. And I understand that feeling, and I've been there. And like, I'll be honest, like this is not an easy thing for me to admit, but I think a lot of people relate to it, and I'm real. Like there was a time in my life where I seeked validation from straight men because it made me feel slightly more affirmed in my young delusional brain about who I was. And it actually wasn't doing that. It was doing the opposite. It was like bruising my like self-esteem and boosting my ego in a weird way. And like, it wasn't until I really let that go and I realized like, these men need to pay me. And everyone else, like, they just need to be cool because like, that's like, it's not a matter of like, oh, well, I like learn some lessons. Like, it's a safety thing, too. Just, like, I want us all to, like, continue to thrive. And these straight men, like, they be the ones hurting you and, like, not getting tested. I'm just saying.
I feel like it's so interesting. Before I moved to Los Angeles, I had, like, a little thing with this frat guy, which is crazy just because, like, it was... I mean... he wasn't like really a hyper masculine guy, but it's crazy how I saw him. I was a little into it. I was kind
What
of
college?
a little iffy. Oh my God. He went to Cal Poly Slow. And he was a nice guy, like
Nerd.
no shade to him, but like
Nerd.
he ended
Sorry.
up, things ended with us. He had been seemingly pretty into it, but he ended things because basically I had come over a little early, and this guy who I had seen surfing was there at his apartment getting a surfboard, and I like talked to the guy a little bit, and then we like went in his house to chill, and he was like, I can't believe you talked to that guy, like now he's gonna know I'm gay, like I can't believe you do that to me, like I can't believe. And it was so
Put that on
awkward.
you is so
literally
messed
I
up.
was bewildered, and also because like at the time especially I wasn't presenting particularly gay. I think I was wearing like gray sweatpants and a tank top. I was literally like, I feel like maybe you're acting insane. And then
You were right.
I literally like I left and we never spoke again. He was so upset over that. I was kind of like, and I feel like that's been kind of a constant thing, is I'm like, I feel like sometimes these guys have a lot of things to work out within themselves, and like
Most of the time.
I feel like, you know, it's tough. I've been out of the closet since I was 13. So I'm like, I've been a day oneer. I was the first gay kid a lot of people met. I've always kind of been, you know, I've always been proud of being gay, and I feel like I don't understand like that the shame I've never really understood, because it's one of those things where like, listen, I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna do my thing. Yes, people aren't gonna like it. Yes, people said homophobic stuff, but it's like, what can you do? I mean, at the end of the day,
they were saying homophobic things to me before I even knew I was gay. Literally, like I remember
No,
because I was
same.
so feminine. So yeah, girl, you're so mature for having that outlook, especially at your age, and like just like keep on going and being like fierce about like what you are, who you are. I'm proud of that, because I think with your age group, I'll just be real with you. I don't know if you like older guys. If you, I honestly am so weird. I like guys my age and girls my age. Like I'm just like, for some reason, I just want to connect about like what our generational experience is just for me. But guys your age are just so far from figuring it out. So
I tend to like, I would say like guys in their mid to late 20s. So like maybe a few years older than me, because I want to be able to like talk about things. And I also feel like I would like a guy that I ideally could have gone to high school with, which I did skip a grade. So like, you know, like 5 years older than me, I feel like would be chilling. Any younger, like between 24 to 30 would be amazing. But I also am like, I'm kind of one of those people where I'm, you know, I've dated people who look such an insane variety of ways. Like I've gone on dates with people that look an insane variety of ways, have been older too. And like, I've just kind of been like, I think my thing is just, I'm a person who's got very high standards. So I'm like, I'm not gonna have just anyone be like my boyfriend. So I've never really had a boyfriend before.
Really?
So, yeah, I had like an on and off
my
thing when I was in
God.
high school, but since then I've never had a
Waiting
boyfriend.
for the right one.
So, well, that's the thing, is I really want a guy that's really nice, and I want a guy that I'm really attracted to, and I want a guy that I think is cool. Like I don't need anyone else to think he's cool, but I want to feel like you know, this is, you know, I want to feel like I'm bringing my man out on the town and I think he's a cool guy. Like that's like really important to me.
Oh,
So
you'll have that.
I think it'll happen.
It's
But-
good that you're not wasting your time with these clowns. I did lots of time wasting with clowns, and I regret nothing in my life. Nothing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes these clowns, I've had fun at the circus, I won't lie. But like, you're smart to just hold. I always like, I spent probably 75% of my adulthood single, so I relate to you in that way.
Yeah.
And like, I think if you learn how to be happy single, like you are just such a happier person. Like, go be single. If you are one of those relationship people and it's not working out, just spread your wings, baby. Like, girl, there ain't nothing wrong with being single. The whole world is your oyster at that point.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I've always loved like having so many friends. I feel like that's like the thing I've always been best at. I've always been very good at making friends, and I always feel like I'm friends with the coolest people in the world.
You are, obviously.
Hey girl. But literally, I feel like my thing is just, I would ideally like a guy that I could like feel like friends with too. And I feel like especially like So I'm kind of just sitting back and, focusing on my work. But it's interesting too, because so much of my work, I mean, the biggest characters, the like most popular characters I have are named Argos and Mr. Plant. Argos has a bunch of eyes all over his face, and they're in a couple. And before they got together, I found it so much easier to write episodes because I was like, oh, I know like Argos is like in love with Mr. Plant. I know this like feeling of yearning. I know that. But like, I really don't know. Once I got them in a couple, I was like, I don't know how this is supposed to go. Like, well, I don't know what, like, I was like,
maybe they need to break up.
Yeah. Well, that's my thing is I feel like I don't want to break them up. The fans are so in love with them, obviously. But oftentimes I find that now that they're together, I don't write them interacting as much because I write them interacting, but there being outside things happening because I'm like, I don't know what to do. I at some point I'm gonna do like a little dating episode, just like of cute fan servicey moments, because people have been asking, and those characters get so much fan art. But I just feel like it's just interesting to me because I try to channel a lot of my own like personal experiences through my art, a lot of my own like feelings. I mean, and I feel like sometimes it's misinterpreted, and sometimes it's like, oh my God, I did this video recently that was about this like mannequin that like comes to life. I wasn't super proud of it, but I was trying to like kind of like manifest my feelings about like, this is gonna sound so weird, but I like have at periods of my life been like kind of baby crazy, and I've always wanted like a man and a kid. Like I've always been like, oh, I would love
She wants to get pregnant.
She wants to get pregnant. Just like I like feel like, I've always been a romantic, and I've always really wanted like a family, which I feel like I kind of go back and forth from it. Sometimes I like don't want it very much.
Take your sweet time.
I'm like, I'll see what ends up happening. If I don't ever have a kid, it's not the end of the world. But I like wrote this episode where basically this mannequin is brought to life, and she like can't have a kid because she was a mannequin that was brought to life. And it's so interesting because like
can relate to
people,
that.
Well, yeah, people like kind of misinterpreted it, and they kept like, people were like, wow, you like don't do a lot of female characters, and the first one you did is mad she can't get pregnant. And I was like, no, this is my feelings about this.
Oh my God, well,
like,
that makes perfect sense to me, actually. That's sick.
Like,
I didn't even know that you did like lore with the like. I was getting into your stuff, but I obviously haven't been a fan for as long as your fan base. That is so cool.
Well, I think sometimes like translating real emotions into the story. I did like an episode of Argos and Mr. Plant where Argos's great grandpa died, and it was like a funeral episode, and I like really tried to capture some like real emotions. Like I think it's really important to me that no matter what I'm doing, even if it's silly, like there's still, the message is still really there. And I like having like, I really love it when I have like a good message that I can stand behind,
Yes.
And I think on top of that, like I always like having a little like nostalgic undercurrent to my videos, like a little bit of like that feeling, like the little sad feeling when you think back on your childhood. And I feel like channeling my real emotions, my real like putting some of myself, some of my own experiences into videos like really helps that. I mean,
Definitely.
And
everyone is so sick of the regurgitation over everything. You being so true to your deepest emotions and not being afraid to put them out there is going to make you a bigger star, because you are such a star on the rise, girl.
Thank you.
And I will say, like, I totally love that concept with the mannequin, because that's literally Chase and I's song Motherhood. We're both trans women.
Yeah.
And we can't have kids.
Yeah.
So the song Motherhood is very tongue in cheek, because we're talking about how it's like hard to be a mom.
Yeah.
And so I get it. It's like we have to take these things that like only we can relate to and somehow make them into art, and we can only hope that the audiences that we like give them to take something cool away and are at least entertained, because at the end of the day we're just entertainers,
Well, and I think that's the thing, is it's sometimes, I think being gay, I think it was a real like weird thing to come to terms with, that the chances that I would have like a biological kid are pretty much zero. And like obviously if I adopted a kid, I would love that kid with my whole heart. But it's interesting, like I think I forget sometimes how much straight, like how the world is set up to be so straight all the time. I think that's also why so many of my videos, I make videos. I love everyone who watches my videos, but I make videos for queer kids and queer young adults. And because I think there's a lot of there's so much stuff for straight people out there anyways. And I love
Yeah.
that so many straight people watch my videos, but
They
I'm
can
like,
watch,
yeah,
yeah.
I love that.
They
but
can
it's just
subscribe
like,
to the Patreon.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Do you do Patreon?
Yeah, I do have a Patreon. It's all right. I feel like I post my content before it goes up on my main page. Like I post it on Patreon like a couple days before. But mainly if you're subscribing to my Patreon, which please subscribe if you want to support me. It's really cheap. It's like $3. It's mainly because that's helping me keep afloat and keep everything up and running.
Good. So you do pretty
it's
well on there.
I mean, I do all right, but
Not
it's
to
like
be
the
inappropriate.
hardcore
I'm just
fans.
entering the
Yeah.
world of Patreon. And
Yeah.
I'm so used to the other stuff. And so I'm like wondering what the world of Patreon is like. Like, I don't know how many people.
For me, I have like a very small Patreon following, but I really appreciate them, and they're all very wonderful.
I feel
So-
like that's what it gives, and I love that. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna subscribe to your Patreon.
Oh,
because
hell yeah.
I want to
Thank you, girl.
joining it. I'm like, oh my god, it's actually so cool that we all do this.
Yeah.
Like, if I have extra money, girl, I'll subscribe to
I
your
mean,
Patreon.
hey.
I want early access.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
But I definitely feel like it's interesting how like straight the world has been set up. And I think like even in the event that I like ended up with a trans guy, there's no I don't think there's a situation which I would have a kid in any sort of traditional way. And I think that always like was something that I felt like very
You want to hear a crazy
sad
story?
about. Yeah.
Wait, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh my
interrupt
god!
that.
Yeah, were you gonna
I'm
bring
sorry.
up? Is
I'm
it?
sorry.
I'm like Gigi Gorgeous and her husband had a kid, didn't they? Or like
I
they were
don't know
trying
yet.
to.
I've loved them. I want them on the show.
I've been in a lot of like really crazy scenarios since moving to
It's just
LA.
'cause
Oh
you're-
my god!
oh my god, LA
Like,
is so weird.
oh my god! Do you want to hear this crazy story? I like tell this
Please.
story all the time. This is my crazy Uber story. All right, so it starts. There's two stories in one, right? First story is a childhood friend of mine had passed away. I was really going through it, and I had spent the day at my friend's house, and I like had called an Uber to go home because I hadn't driven because I was kind of really sad, and I just wanted to like be sad. And I was waiting, and this was in a pretty nice area. It was like, I'm trying to decide, like, it was in West Hollywood, really nice area, not like weird at all. And this guy came up to me and was like, hey, I'll pay you $300 to spend the night with me. And I was like, first of all, $300? Second of all, no, absolutely not. And I also was like crying. I was a mess. And I was like, I don't do that. And he like kept bothering me as my Uber was pulling up. So I was like, okay, it's fine, you know, whatever. He kept being like, oh, you're so beautiful, doing his thing. Got in my Uber. He comes up to the Uber door, puts his hands in the window, and starts bribing the Uber driver to kick me out of the Uber and leave me there. And so I'm sitting in the back of the Uber. No. And the girl in the front seat is literally sitting there, her eyes peeled. And so I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Freaking out. Finally, she drives off, and I was like, oh my God, I literally didn't know that guy. That's so sketchy. But then, funny story. So last Halloween, I told this exact story to an Uber driver that was driving me, and he told me a story about how one time, and I'm like, ugh, maybe I shouldn't even be telling this story. Maybe this will get me. But he told me about how one time he had like picked up a girl from a guy's house, and she had been crying, and he took her to a location on a little slip of paper a guy handed him.
Oh, me.
And I
It was probably
literally
me,
like,
girl.
It was you, girl.
Sounds like half
I was
my career.
But I was like, that not the Uber location. I was like, girl, this is sketchy as hell. I was like, I hope for that girl's sake, and I hope for his sake, because he seemed like a nice guy. I was like,
Dude.
listen, sketchy is always happening in LA, and like I feel so bad.
Yeah, these
like,
poor Uber drivers are so
these
complicit.
poor Uber drivers.
They don't even know.
I did have a little bit of a shoplifting phase, but in my defense, it was stuff I needed, and I had no money at all. Sometimes
You do not have to
you know
defend
what's
that.
crazy?
I understand.
When I started Patreon,
As long as you steal from like
Yeah.
a Walgreens or Walmart and not like a person, I think that's
Oh,
like a little bit
absolutely.
more acceptable.
It's crazy that when I started my Patreon, I got a bunch of comments from people being like, oh, like, I can't, you're so greedy. You like make so much money already. And I was like, I think people would be shocked to find out that I make less than an elementary school teacher. Like I make barely any money at all. I'm really scraping by. I work so much. I try so hard. And it's just like kind of how I have to do it to like keep everything up. And I feel like, I mean, for a long time, it pretty much seems like all the influencers, by the way, all of them are lying about how much money they make. They're all broke.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And the ones that aren't broke also do or something else. And I had kind of decided, I knew that wasn't going to be my path. So I kind of have been trying my best to like keep afloat, and it's crazy how like I just am always surprised. I think people think I had a slightly different upbringing than I did, maybe. But
I think people might think that about me sometimes
Yeah.
too. I especially back when I was a blondie. But you know what I'll say about this? Just know your niceness gets you far. Don't worry so much about money. Like, girl, you're a real artist.
Oh,
so
thank you.
worry about the art. Money comes and goes
money
in
comes
life.
second. Yeah, that's the thing. Is
You
it's
probably
like,
will be fine.
more
I just
money will
watched,
come.
Always, it always comes, and then it's gonna go. I was just watching. There's a new Martha Stewart documentary on Netflix, and I was watching it. And girl, I was so inspired. Like, she is such a baddie. She literally was like the first woman billionaire ever.
Really?
Yes, and
That's crazy.
she went to jail for some financial crimes for 1 year. But you know what? A whole life of like living like Martha Stewart. I mean, she's a billionaire,
Yeah.
and she's like a self-made billionaire. What's 1 year in the pen?
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? I just feel like
Uh-huh.
we as like humans, we deserve to live. You know?
Yeah,
I'm not saying like go to
sometimes
jail, but I'm just saying.
I
like,
mean, listen, we're all people. We make so many mistakes. I've made so many mistakes over the course of my life, and I think it's one of those things where like it's just about like facing forward and doing the best you can right now. And who knows? Like, I'll probably make a million more mistakes like before this episode comes out, like in the following, like I'll be making so many mistakes the rest of the year, but I'm always like, listen, it really ain't that serious. Like, life is about having fun. Like, you were not put on this earth to like be stressed and be worried and be freaking out all the time. We were put on this earth to have fun. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my general vibe. I mean, it's been
Good.
interesting. The vibe recently just in the world, it's been so, I feel like all of my entertainer friends have been having a really tough time this month. And I feel like it's just that with everything going on, it's hard to, like, I feel like the general people, like, don't really want to engage in entertainment as much these days because of how horrible things are. And I think that I'm like, I hope, like, I'm really praying for everyone these days. Like, I'm really, whew.
yeah, times is
But,
tough, girl.
yeah.
It is. But you know what? I believe in you. I know a lot of
Yeah.
other people do. Like, you always have somewhere to be with
Yeah.
me, girl. You can always call me.
And
if
it
you're
always
down
make
now.
yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why I am not a political content creator at all. I do engage in like activism online quite often, just because I feel like if you have a platform, sometimes it's important for you to do so, especially when it comes to issues with like the Middle East. I especially feel like I have to like stand up for my brothers and sisters across the map, and especially things to do with like gay rights, trans rights. I feel like this is stuff that I have to talk about. If there's a community I'm not part of, I still want to like, I'll still repost. I still want them to like be able to get as much visibility on like the movement,
Yes.
and especially also with like police reform and stuff. And it's just been interesting. I feel like especially recently people have gotten a lot more like into it with like a lot of things going on in the world. But it's crazy how like I always am like such a privileged position, especially compared to like most gay Middle Eastern men are probably not having as fun of a time as I am. So that's just generally my thought about it. Is I'm like, listen, it's important to like say something,
Yeah, it's so important. I totally admire that, and I wanted to bring that up with you. Like, this is a world where, and I'm not shading, obviously, but this is a world where you can just take your shirt off and make your money and move along with your life. And it takes a real like artist, somebody going places to like have a vision and stick up for what they believe in, even when it ruffles feathers. So
Yeah.
keep doing it, because you make it look cool, and it makes the people who come next
yeah.
more inspired to put themselves out there and speak their minds. Because even when I post stuff all the time that people might be like, oh, here goes Gracie Jane, like she's emotional today, which like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm emotional every day.
Yeah.
But like, every time, like when I see people like you who talk about real issues, it makes me feel like, okay, I'm not being messy, I'm just being real. And some of these people, they don't want to be real, and that's how they
Yeah.
run their businesses and their lives and their images. Like me and you, I think both of us have something really positive to say, and I feel like there's nothing wrong. I mean, girl, with all these straight people, like Joe Rogan never shuts up, so like why shouldn't we open our mouths and talk about what we believe?
Absolutely. And I feel like, also like I know I said earlier that I'm like not a political creator, and I'm not, but I do feel like almost all art is political in some sense. I mean, I mean, you're trans, like your existence is to a certain degree political. My existence is to a certain degree political. I mean, as a Middle Eastern kid, like my existence was political. So I feel like it's not like I can't be too separated from it. I mean, oh my God, I have a crazy
You could, though.
story. I'm like, I could like totally say, and I mean, look at how I look. I'm like, it doesn't usually come up that often, but it's crazy how after October 7th happened, a lot of people who met me started assuming that I was Palestinian, which I'm not, but I love my Palestinian brothers and sisters, and would come up to me and either start spewing just straight up racism right off the bat. Like at clubs, gay men would come up and start saying all sorts of insane or would come up to me and do this sort of like, literally this one guy came up to me at a club and was like, I just want you to know you're so beautiful, you're so special, like what your people have been through, like gave me a fist. And I was always like, in that case, I was like, I'm so glad you're pro-Palestine. Listen, I'm beyond thrilled. You can be like, I was like, listen, as long as you're like with the movement, especially at that point, that was like New Year's earlier this year, I was pretty happy about it. But overall, it was such a like, you know, I was like in the bathroom at a club during October, and this guy came up to me and started being like, oh, well, I don't know where you're from, but I just want to like nuke Palestine. Like, I think you're Palestinian, and I just wish I could nuke it.
Whoa.
Like talking about like, I want to nuke Israel and Palestine. And I was like, well, this is like,
okay, Vladimir
I think
Putin.
Whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, wow, like a lot of people, and especially like not to specifically shade gay men. I mean, I love gay men. I am. But like, I feel like also a lot of gay men, like sometimes I feel like they don't realize like, you know, people in the Middle East, they're like real people and they're just, you know, they're just like us. So I like want to be able to like come out and say things. And I feel like, you know, people have this vision of a lot of like minority groups. I mean, me and Noah talk about this all the time because, you know, he's trans and I'm Iranian, so we're two groups that have been getting talked about a lot in the media recently. And I think it's just like I think sometimes it's important to, you know, make a stand. And I'm so lucky that my audience, like when I started posting about Palestine and stuff, my audience was like so happy and cool, and like we're so happy with me talking about things in the Middle East. I talked about things with Masa Amini and like the women's protests in Iran, because all this stuff was so important. And I think like just in general, that's kind of my vibe about it. I don't really like,
I love your vibe about it.
This is the most I've talked about politics like straight up like in a public setting ever before. This is really interesting to me.
Well, I'm glad you are.
Like,
I mean, it's like we can't shy away from these topics, especially like, girl, it's just, they're the topics that we're here to talk about.
And
I mean, we're smart. We're allowed to talk about things.
Absolutely. And everything going on with trans people right now, it's so horrible.
Yeah, I totally relate to like going into public and having a gay guy be like, I see you, doll. I see you. Or it's like, for me, I guess what I get all the time is this is my favorite. Just kidding. I hate this so much. It's always like, your work is beautiful. Like, is that silicone or is that like, they start talking to me about my body?
Yeah, I'm on all natural actually.
Usually I have a much different choice words for them because I'm been around long enough to know that like, I don't know, I'm weird. Like, I'm like, don't disrespect me because I will spit and not spit in your face, but I will spit back. I will fight back. I do not like that. I don't approve of like misogyny in gay men. I have a really big problem with that. And that's why I literally like lately I'm like, with my rave, I don't even want gay people there right now. Because I'm just like, sorry, I can't really trust that you are going to keep the vibe cool because y'all don't know how to act around women.
Gay men are men.
Y'all be grabbing women, and my like it doesn't feel good to be grabbed no matter who the dude is. And I think that
Absolutely.
You know, we all as people have a lot to learn, but like I think when people like you stand up and talk about these issues, it really does like lead a good example. So thank you.
It's like it's very interesting. I mean, I feel like just being queer inherently is political, and I do feel like I have worked some politics into my art. I am interested. I had a whole plot line on The World of Mr. Plant in which now I like, it became a thing where I was like, I feel like the political allegory like kind of fell apart after a while. But with humans like moving into the void and like basically displacing the void residents, it was kind of my, you know, as a Middle Eastern person, I've been well aware of colonialization and like that kind of stuff. So I had worked that into the story just because sometimes I'm like, it is important to, you know, teach younger people and like really like, you know, sometimes it's easier to reach people through characters that are a little bit separate from us than like just like coming out and talking about it so openly. And this was like 2 years and a half ago. So it's been a while since then. But I mean, that's in general my feeling. Like,
yeah, because people can relate. Like when you're talking about your personal experience, like of course you're so lovable, it's amazing. But when it's someone that isn't a human, it's just a character. It doesn't get you as emotional, and it like gives you this ability to sort of. That's why I love your work.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's really brilliant.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's brilliant. I want to see you take it into new mediums. Like I would love to see an art book. Like girl,
oh my god, I want to do a
cool.
coffee
Your
table book real bad.
Really
I have
cool.
so many photo shoots.
Would you ever be down to do like characters together? Like maybe we could do a video. You put me in character or something.
I'm like down to try it out at some point. I feel like, so I honestly do really love the fact that I usually play all the parts. Like I feel very like Cher in West Side. Do you know that Cher West Side Story video where she's like, hi, I'm Cher and I'm going to be doing West Side Story tonight and I will be playing all the parts. No. Like I always feel like that.
Yeah. I mean, only if you have time and you want to do like a little collab.
I would love to. I would love to do more things with people. I'm like, hopefully it'll be out, but me and my friend Hoso Teratoma are like gonna hopefully do a little shoot together at sometime soon because you know I love stuff and I want to do some more stuff with Neohoru X was on the show earlier and
we all know Neo.
Love Neo, like that's bestie. And I want to do something with her soon too. So because I love doing lots of spooky stuff. Oh my god,
yes. Well, we have to do something because I just think your art is so cool, and I feel like me and you could collaborate on something really dope.
Yeah.
Or even if I could like help you like with a drag persona for you or something.
Oh my gosh, your makeup is so good too. I loved doing the Morticia makeup, but I would love to get like, you know, I'm like, I want to be like, I have a femme queen beat on, you know?
I got
like, hell yeah. All right.
I actually was a professional makeup artist.
Really? Well, you look stunning, so it makes so much sense.
Well, you know, one of the reasons I love you so much, and this is so selfish of me, but you one time told me, you were like, you know what, your makeup is always perfect. You just look like a doll, and that just made me feel so good. I loved it. I
feel like whenever I notice something about someone that I really love, I have to tell them because I'm like, I love making people feel good about themselves, and the thing is like that's something that like is true, and probably a million people have thought that, and they just haven't said it, and that's why I was like. So I'm going to be the one to say it. If you see something you love about someone, tell them it.
If you see something, say something.
Yeah,
absolutely. Especially when it comes to a beautiful beat.
Literally, a beautiful beat. Give it its flowers.
Did you go to we have to wrap this up. But did you go to makeup school?
No, I am self-taught. I have learned all my FFX and everything on my own. Lots of like experiments and like, I mean, I have a full face on right now. It's not great, but I do makeup like every single day at this point. I've been wearing makeup since I was a teenager, so I experiment with a lot of different things. You know,
maybe she's
got that liquid latex on every day.
Yeah,
so it's fun though.
Okay, good. Well, that's so cool. You're self-taught. I had a feeling, and I wanted the world to know. I'm like,
I'm trying to get better. Upgrade.
You should take a class. I used to take. I've taken a few, and they really help.
I might honestly.
Obviously, when it was my career, but
yeah.
Okay, I want you to have a chance to plug whatever you got going on. Plug your social media. Let the people know where to find
you can find me at Ashur Gharavi, ASHUR, Middle Eastern spelling, and then my last name is GHARA, V as in Victor, I. That's what I am on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram. Honestly, if you just search ASHUR, you'll probably be able to find me.
You got a star in the house.
There's not a lot of Ashurs with that spelling in the US, but please go check out my content, watch my videos. If you want to support the Patreon, you can. I might have a plushie going at the time. I sell plushies sometimes. So if I do,
put one on hold for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
really? Okay, hell yeah.
Yes, I got you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. I'm a plushie collector myself.
Oh, really?
Oh, girl. Gosh. Everyone knows.
I need to get into it.
Everyone knows, like anyone in the industry, any young girl in the industry, the first thing we do with our new money, plushies, okay? It was giving Hello Kitty plushies, Pokemon plushies, and I love them.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Ashur Gharavi, everyone, give him so much love. All his links are going to be right below. Once again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are on my Patreon, on Ashur's Patreon. Support the dolls and our artistic endeavors. I love you guys all so much, and it has been an amazing season. So, goodbye. Well, you guys, it's been a great season. Thank you so much for tuning in to all my guests. I hope that this podcast has enlightened you to the wonderful world of the LGBTQ underground and, really put us all in a positive light. Hold up. DL Trade.
Make sure to stream my song Therapy and the rest of my debut album Sugar. Available on all streaming platforms. Jane's World. You know how sweet I am. That's why the album's called Sugar by Jane's World.